Kirtanishevanat. O twice born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. Shrunvatam svakatah Krishnah Punyashravana Kirtanah Hridayantastohya bhadrani Vidunoti suhritsatam. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashta prayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Tada rajastamo bhavaha kamalobadayascha ye cheta etair anaviddam sitam sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes completely happy. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sanghasya jayate. Thus, established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Vidyate hridaya grantish chidyante sarva samshayah kshiyante chasya karmani drishta evatmanishvare. Thus, the knot in the heart is pierced and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as master. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachadane Nirvishesha Shunirvadi Pashtatari Shatarane Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasri Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 1, Verse 16. Evam pralabdha munayas tanu chakupita nrapa janayashati vomanda mushalam kula nasanam. Evam, thus, pralabdha, tricked, munaya, sages, tan, to those boys, uchu, they spoke, kupita, angered, nrpa, O King Parikshit, janayishati, she will give birth, ava, for you, manda, O fools, mushalam, to a club, kula nasanam, which will destroy the dynasty. Translation: Thus ridiculed by deceit, the sages became angry, O king, and told the boys, fools, she will bear you an iron club that will destroy your entire dynasty. Purport: the four defects of the conditioned soul, namely the tendency to commit mistakes, illusion, imperfect senses, and tendency to cheat, are not found in pure devotees of the Lord. Lord Krishna, however, arranged for the young member of his own dynasty, the Yadu dynasty, to exhibit the dangerous lower propensities of mankind. Thus the Yadu boys imitated the activities of the followers of a pseudo-devotional cult. Just before his disappearance, Krishna desired that the sages become angry at the young members of the Yadu dynasty in order to teach that Vaishnavas cannot be thought of as foolish, ignorant, or mundane, and to reduce the false pride of his own family members. Sometimes misguided persons assume the roles of pseudo-devotees and blaspheme the actual process of pure devotional service and the pure devotees who are surrendered to preaching the mission of the Lord. Such foolish pseudo-devotees think that their hatred or envy of the actual preaching mission of the Lord constitutes bhakti, but in fact it constitutes the cause of all trouble, both for them and for the unfortunate people who follow them. The preachers of pure devotional service expose the pernicious attempts of pseudo-devotees, and similarly the sages headed by Narada, who were all exalted devotees of the Lord, addressed the young boys of the Yadu dynasty as bewildered fools and told them, within this false womb or false dress of a sadhu, a club will take birth that will be the source of your dynasty's destruction. Especially in India, but now also in the Western countries, there is a class of polluted sense enjoyers who also call themselves Gaudiya Vaishnavas and pretend to exhibit the highest state of prem bhakti. They declare they are on the highest stage of devotion and therefore are concerned only with the most intimate affairs of Madhurya Leela exhibited in Vrindavan. Sometimes they even dress as gopis, making a false show of entering into the pastimes of Krishna without actually following the standard regulations. In the name of prema bhakti, they sometimes commit grievous offenses against the pure devotees of Krishna. But this incident concerning the iron club from the so-called womb of Samba, the Lord himself taught the dangerous results of such pseudo-devotion. Thus ridiculed by deceit, the sages became angry, O king, and told the boys, "Fools, she will bear you an iron club that will destroy your entire dynasty." So the young children in the Yadu dynasty were joking with the great sages, trying to fool them. So that is why the word pralabdha, there was an attempt to fool the sages into thinking that Samba was actually a woman who was pregnant. And then they were supposed to say if she would bear a son or a daughter. So this they actually were not fooled, but there was an attempt by the boys to fool the sages or cheat them. And consequently, the sages became angry at this foolish attempt of the small boys, since this attempt to fool them was a type of disrespect, as if they were taking the sages as fools themselves who they could trick. So this was disrespect on the part of the boys for the sages. We should not think that the sages were angry because they were not respected, because great devotees don't want any respect. They are amanina. They don't want respect, or they don't demand respect from anyone, and when it's not given, they don't mind. At the same time, they give respect to all living entities. So that's the quality of a devotee. So these were great devotees of the Lord, the sages, so therefore they were not angry because they were simply disrespected. But the anger manifested because of the particular breach in etiquette that had occurred, which should not have been done. In other words, the boys should not have acted in this way against the rules. So we can say they were angry at their faulty behavior rather than angry at not being respected. So we see that respect is a requirement for getting knowledge. So in Bhagavad Gita, there it said that one approaches the person of knowledge, and then one is very submissive to that person, pranipat. So one is approaches the person in a fallen state, in a very humble way, which means that one respects that person with knowledge, and one approaches with the understanding that one does not have knowledge. Here we find the opposite, where the young boys thought they were very clever, and they thought the sages, who were actually full of knowledge, to be fools. So we have a reversal of roles, which should have not been there. Of course, even if the boys were very intelligent or whatever, and which of course they were, because they were devotees of the Lord also, part of the Lord's family, still there is a matter of respect for the elder. So the sages were seniors and the boys were juniors, so therefore naturally they should show respect. Even if the boys had all knowledge also, they should show proper respect. Here they did the opposite. Not only they didn't show respect, they showed disrespect by trying to fool the great sages. So this is a cause of concern. Now the sages, of course, could tolerate all of this. As I said, they don't care for respect itself, but they do have to correct an unhealthy situation, an improper situation, where the juniors insult or disrespect the elders, and the juniors disrespect those who are renowned for their knowledge. So therefore they became angry. Their anger took the form of this prediction, which was a curse upon the Yadu dynasty. So the boys had disguised Samba as a young woman who was pregnant by putting an iron ball in her under the cloth to make her look like she was pregnant. So the sages made this prediction that this ball of iron would become a club, and then the club would be the destruction of the Yadu dynasty. So rather than create a good result of having a birth of a son or a daughter, the result was that the whole dynasty would get destroyed. So this was a very inauspicious prediction for the Yadu dynasty. So therefore this is called a curse, because the sages predicted the future destruction of the Yadu dynasty, caused by the disrespect that the young boys gave to the great sages. So we can say that the curse was appropriate to the situation. The attempt to disguise Samba as a woman, pregnant woman, actually produced a result, not a birth as such, but a club, and that club destroyed the whole dynasty. So there was an actual birth of something. Janisyati, this disguised person will give birth, and give birth to a club, which will be the destruction of the Yadu dynasty. So the curse extended not only to the boys but to the whole dynasty. So a very, very serious result from this offense against the devotees of the Lord. So, of course, we know that the whole curse was an arrangement of the Supreme Lord, and the Yadus could not actually be cursed by anybody. Moreover, the sages themselves would not dare to curse the Supreme Lord and his family or whatever. So therefore, the whole incident is some arrangement, and we cannot blame the sages or the boys for all of this. But on the superficial level, we can understand the seriousness of committing offense against the devotees. This offense is so serious that it can destroy a whole dynasty. And not only it can destroy a whole dynasty, it can destroy the dynasty of the Supreme Lord, which is impossible to destroy. So that is the seriousness of offense against the devotees. So many were exalted sages like Narada Muni. Of course, there were others who were not on the same caliber of devotion. We have other sages more interested in karma yoga or whatever, and we have Brigu and Durvasa and other sages who were not so renowned for their bhakti, but nevertheless they were respectable sages of some sort, involved in either jnana or karma or whatever. So they were in a exalted position, and they should be respected in all cases. And because of the disrespect, then we find this serious problem. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu compares the offense against the devotee to a mad elephant. So the devotee cultivates bhakti from a seed, and it grows into a small plant. And the plant begins to grow, and by carefully watering it and protecting it, the bhakti creeper grows and grows until it develops flowers and fruit. But in the progress of doing so, if one is living in the countryside, I suppose, near some mountains or near the jungle, then once in a while some wild elephants come into the village, and they'll tear up all the plants in the fields. They'll trample on everything for no particular reason, and then they'll run away. So the Vaishnava aparad is considered to be like the mad elephant, the elephant that comes into the village and without any good reason just destroys the crop, destroys the plant of bhakti. So of course the plant of bhakti is not an ordinary plant. It is very delicate, and it takes care to grow it in the proper way, and it gets very easily affected by how it's treated. So if the mad elephant comes and steps on it or uproots it with its trunk, then it has no chance of growing again. It's very, very difficult for it to grow. So that indicates the seriousness of the Vaishnava aparad. By that aparad, then bhakti, the creeper of bhakti, can be destroyed or very severely damaged so that it doesn't grow properly for a long time. For that reason, the Vaishnava aparad is called the mad elephant offense. Very, very destructive of bhakti. Now, of course, we have 10 aparads. All are considered to be improper for devotees to commit because they impede bhakti. But of all of those, the Vaishnava aparad is considered to be the most serious in its effect on bhakti. All of the offenses affect bhakti, but Vaishnava aparad affects bhakti the most. Why is that? So, there is offense against the Supreme Lord, for instance. Consider chanting the name of Shiva or Brahma to be equal to the name of Vishnu. It's also an offense. To consider the process of bhakti to be material, like karma kanda, or to be imaginary, it's also offense. But the offense against the Vaishnava is considered more serious, has greater effect. So why is that? So the reason is that it is the devotee who is the source of bhakti. It is through devotees that one gets faith, and it's through faith that one begins the process of bhakti. So it's only by mercy of devotees that we can begin the process of bhakti. And then once we have faith, we approach devotees in order to get knowledge to practice properly. Without that knowledge, we have bhakti abhas, only a semblance of bhakti. So we need devotee guidance and knowledge to practice pure bhakti. So the whole growth of bhakti is dependent upon devotees. To become qualified with faith, one needs mercy of devotees. And then to develop the seed of bhakti, one requires devotees. So without that, bhakti cannot grow at all. So the mercy of devotees will depend upon our favorable attitude towards the devotees. If we disrespect the devotees, how can we get mercy at all? Now, of course, devotees are very merciful and they don't care for respect at all. So yes, they could give mercy. But the problem is that though the devotees are always giving mercy, if we disrespect them, then we can't accept the mercy. It's just like the rain cloud pours water everywhere, but plants don't grow everywhere. They don't grow on the rocks. They don't grow in other places, only where there's fertile fields. So the devotees are very merciful, but some are not qualified. So therefore the devotees can be merciful, but if one is disrespectful, one is not qualified to get that mercy, and so it has no effect. So therefore, in order to get the mercy of devotees, in order to practice bhakti and to develop bhakti, we have to be favorable to the devotees. We cannot commit aparad. We have to give proper respect at all times. And this way we can progress. So if we do the opposite, then we don't get the mercy. So how can we progress at all? So once we start the process of bhakti, then we shouldn't commit aparads because we know that it is detrimental for our progress. Nevertheless, it is possible it will happen either by mistake or by illusion or whatever. One may commit offenses. So in that case, we already got some bhakti, just as we can say the plant is growing up. But if we commit the aparad, then the plant may get destroyed or get severely injured, so therefore it cannot grow properly. So the aparad therefore is a serious impediment to bhakti. So what this means is that by committing offense against the devotee, then we no longer can receive mercy. If we can no longer receive mercy, then what are the chances of progressing in bhakti? Not much. So that's one effect of the offense. But then why would bhakti wither or get damaged or get destroyed? Why is it a mad elephant that destroys bhakti? And the reason for this is that as a result of the offense, our taste for bhakti decreases or gets extinguished. We no longer have any mercy from devotees. That mercy is withdrawn completely. And moreover, because of offense, then we're likely to increase our offensive mentality. And this is destructive to bhakti. The definition of a madhyam adhikari is he appreciates the devotees. He understands the importance of devotees in the progress of bhakti. So if we don't have that understanding, then we're back to Kanishta stage, where we're just all by ourselves without any knowledge, without devotee association. So it's a downgrade from Madhyama to Kanishta as a result of that. However, because the aparad can be serious and could be intentional, then not only we get downgraded, whatever, but our taste may get severely limited, so that we're not even Kanishta anymore. We don't even want to practice anymore because we have lack of taste for bhakti. And moreover, our hostility towards bhakti and devotees increases. So the effect of aparad is very serious, and therefore the scriptures warn us that we have to avoid all of this very, very severely. So here we find in the case of the sages, they're giving this example for us by because of the offense against these sages, the dynasty got destroyed. That was the end result of the offense. So a very, very serious effect for that. On the other hand, we understand that the dynasty cannot be destroyed or cannot be cursed. So this is external, but for teaching us certain lessons. We have this external appearance of a curse on the Yadu dynasty due to offense.
Maharaj, a devotee may have a liking or disliking for a particular devotee. Can that lead to be aparadh?
Well, it depends on the attitude, that's all. If we simply avoid certain devotees because they're unfavorable for devotional development because of their lax nature or whatever, then there's no problem with that. Nevertheless, we respect all living entities and we respect everyone because they're a devotee, etc. But we may avoid their association, so there's no problem with that. When we try to interfere with their bhakti, then that's another question. That becomes offensive if we sometimes interfere with their development of bhakti.
Maharaj, if a person, in order to avoid the offense, if he does sadhana alone, without much mingling with the devotees, is it correct? Because at the beginning stage, people may not even know what kind of offense we are doing. So, how to be careful? Or doing
Well,
sadhana?
the main thing is that we should understand that we advance by getting knowledge, devotional knowledge, and we get that knowledge through devotees. So therefore we have to take association. We can't avoid association because I'll commit offense. Then we don't get any knowledge, then we cannot advance. So therefore we have to advance by association, but we have to be careful that in that association we give proper respect, that's all. And then we don't commit aparadh. And we can commit, we have proper respect if we always have a very humble attitude. If we never become proud, then there is no real chance of aparadh. There could be accidental aparadh, in which we're not even conscious of, but that's not a serious, so serious.
ग्रंथराज श्री श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय।